Okay, so for today, I want to discuss with you about the geography of forced displacements in Africa, which is a real concern. When we're talking about Africa, I believe that we have heard the news, we have read somewhere about what is happening in Africa. Of course, I will focus more on natural disasters, but we also have other factors that are contributing for displacement. From Cairo to Cape Town, we have this kind of problems. Large numbers of people, population that have been displaced because of these events. The structure of my presentation is like this: an overview of the module, what are we going to discuss in these 2 semesters, and then I'll focus on the geography of forced displacements in Africa, where I will talk about cyclone, floods, and drought. Why this topic? Why did I suggest this topic? Then I will look at the economic, political, and the environment situation of the African continent, taking in account the GDP, how is GDP in Africa, the political situation in Africa, and finally, natural disasters. So before I move on, I would also like to share with you about how I designed this the program for this particular or this specific module. So I'm sharing another topic, which is about the program that I'm intending to discuss with the students for these 2 semesters. Can you read it? Can you see it?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So what is from this model, which is called the geography of Africa? Okay, the continent of Africa is, when we talk about Africa, for most of us, we are talking about problems in Africa. We are talking about wars. We are talking about natural disasters. We are talking about the lowest GDP index. We are talking about the faster growth of population. So it seems that there is nothing good in Africa, which is a lie. Depends on the perspective that we want to give. Africa is not only this what people or scholars are saying about Africa. We have to take in account that the largest reserves of mineral resources are found in Africa. As a matter of fact, Africa is blessed by the second largest river, like the basin river, like the Congo one in Central Africa. We have the Nile River, and of course, we are talking about the desert. Yeah, the desert can be seen as something bad, but no, it's not totally bad, because it's nearby deserts where we found the reserves of oil. And most importantly, it has to do with the size of the population and the structure of population. Africa is formed by young people. So when we talk about young people, we are talking about the future of the world. We have these young people that can, if they were given opportunity, they are given opportunity, they can do wonders in terms of, they can also transform the situation of African continent. So what I want to stress here, we are not going to talk about or solely about bad things that are happening in Africa. We recognize, acknowledge that the Africa, of course, we still have challenges on the policies, we still have challenges on the leadership, we still have challenges of many things, but we also have good things that are happening in Africa. And that's why we are here. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. So in terms of the program, specifically, what I aim to discuss with you in these 2 semesters is how do we interpret geographic characteristics of eastern part of Africa, including island along the Indian Ocean and the southwestern area of Asia that comprises the Indian Ocean. The second objective is to characterize the Indian Ocean region by its natural landscape and resources. And the third largest objective is to discuss the contemporary problems of the region and the leading political and regional economic organizations of the region. So in terms of bibliography for each topic, there is a specific bibliography that can be accessed on the internet or by purchasing. So if you have money, you can buy these references. In terms of teaching method, the class will be via Zoom and an interactive process formed by oral expositions and class discussions on reading oriented. Assessment, of course, we're expecting that you will be evaluated in this model. So the assessment will be based in seminars. We'll have seminars where students will present their work in the plenary and 2 essays. The model assessment ends via written or oral exam. We still have to define or decide about how students will write their exams, either writing or they will be orally. So I have the marks calculation, how the marks will be calculated. As I said, in terms of assessment, we have seminars which will correspond to 40% of marks in our calculation, and the essay will be a short essay that is 60%. So I also have the thematics or topics that we will discuss, the working time, and also references that we'll have here. So the first one is about Africa in the context of the Indian Ocean, which is what we are going to talk today. So what I'm going to look in this is about characteristics of the Indian Ocean, the geography of forced displacement in Africa, which is the title that I showed you. So if you want to know more about this topic, I have this list of references, and where you can find it. Recently, myself, it was this year, 2021, myself and a colleague from Western Cape University in South Africa, Professor Dante Vera, we published a book, we're part of a book chapter. In fact, the launching of this book was 2 days ago. The title of our chapter is this one, Struggles of Cyclone Idai, Flood Survivors Inhabiting Spaces of Vulnerability and Reconstructing Their Fractured Livelihoods. So we did this in
Inès. Inès, we can't hear you. Stanley, can you?
In the city of Beira, the city was a Cyclone Idai, and you also friend Caroline Moza and Gina Zevoga. I also have a chapter in this book related with food security and climate changes, but in the city where I am living. Let us check what is says here. Hello, we are so great to be here. Okay, yeah, just okay. So this is part of literature. Of course, there are more than this, but that yeah, this is some of just to show you that we also produce some academic research on this topic that I'm going to share with you. So the second big topic
the problem. Can you hear Inès, or I'm the only one who can't hear her?
That we are going to discuss along with this model. Important to know because one of so that's why it's important to Africans. They might understand that we are really a blessed continent. We have a natural resource that other continents don't have anymore. So here we're going to talk about climate conditions, and also we're going to talk about the forests of Africa, hydrology, mineralogy, and also wild animals that form the landscape of African continent. So I have some references on that. So here, the list of references that you can check. And I want to stress these two last INGCUM FuseNet, they're atlas. That atlas that were produced for the first one in 2003. I was part of this group who I didn't draw maps. I'm not an expert on maps, but my contribution was on analyzing what the map is saying, because you can draw a map, but you still need to interpret the content of map, what meaning is we have in a specific or particular map. So the first one in 2003 is the map of Atlas for disaster preparedness and response in the Limpopo Basin. Limpopo is a regional river in Southern Africa that once for a while this river is creating a problem. As I said, it's an ambivalent river because it can bring happiness or can bring sadness. So in the year of 2000, we had the biggest flood, the biggest flood for 50 years that region experienced floods like that. In fact, flooded completely 3 cities, including the city where I was born, which is called Shashar. This place is about 200 kilometers away from the city capital of Mozambique, which is Maputo. So then again, in the year of 2011, because of floods of the Zambezi River, also the Department of Geography also produced this atlas for disasters preparedness and responses in Zambezi Basin. So these two atlas are really very important. The first one, you can still find it on the internet, you can Google it, but the second one is no longer available. I don't know why, but the importance of this is not about the Mozambique per se, it also look about other countries like South Africa and the countries of hinterland in Mozambique. So this is what I intended to discuss with you this first semester, which included December. So the second one is about demography or and the dynamic of Africa. So we want to here, we'll discuss about the population growth because UNFPA, International Agency, even what I call the fundamentalist demographers, they're saying that the population in Africa is going so fast and it will be a problem. So we'll discuss issues related to the determinants of population growth. We'll also look at the current population and the projections, of course, what will happen in 2050, for instance, theories of population, urbanization and migration, and the population mobility, and then forced displacements. So we have also, I'm suggesting here, some readings that we can find about the demography. And myself, I have a lot of publications on migration, some in Portuguese, unfortunately, and some in English. But if you Google, you'll find my name there, Inès Raimundo, about my publications on migration issues. As a matter of fact, this year also I published about international migration, but this one was unfortunately published in Portuguese and it was published in Brazil. where this particular topic is for me, there is a uniqueness on that, because I'm stressing the fact that Africans are those who are really contributing as migrants in hosting countries in Africa. Because the discourse about migration says that, oh, Africans, they are burdened, they are really creating problems in hosting countries, but it's not the fact. And they're stressed about the big or larger investments that are coming from the global north, but it's not the case. You see, for instance, a Nigerian or Ghanaian or Kenyan or Tanzanian or a Burundian or a Rwandese, they have these small shops in cities, but at least they employ 1 or 2 people. So, but when we look about these big companies, what they do, they always have the same discourse. They say that there is the country is lacking of skills, so they have to import people from the global north. So that's why I'm saying that this paper is quite unique, because we are out of the traditional discourse of blaming Africans as responsible for problems in hosting countries in Africa. And then I'm suggesting to discuss with you the economy of Africa and regionalization. Of course, the trend of the countries or of nations is to become one country, one nation in terms of economy, organization, etc. So then for this topic, I'm suggesting to bring, of course, topics like the current development issues of Africa. We're talking about GDP, again, the lowest in the world. We're talking about the Human Development Index, also the lowest in the world. And of course, when we talk about Africa, we also will stress the issues of poverty and hunger, because they are the biggest problems that we're facing currently. And for this, in terms of regionalization, I'm just, I think these three regional organizations will represent what I'm going to talk about, regionalization in Africa. We have SADC, which is Southern Africa. We have COMESA, which is Eastern Africa. And we also have this Indian Rim Ocean Association, where African countries also, apart from Asian countries that are the countries that are influenced by the Indian Ocean, we also have some African countries. So, okay, the assessment, as I said, seminar, essays, and exams. So this is what I'm suggesting to discuss with you about. Okay. So someone is asking, what is this meeting about? Okay, this is our class, it's introduction about the subject that I'm going to deliver during these 2 semesters. It's about geography of Africa, but it was this what I was talking about a kickoff. So now, for today, I'm going to talk about with you about the forced migration in Africa. I'm going to talk about the displacement, internal displacement, which is the biggest problem that, besides the world is saying that there are a lot of refugees, people are crossing international boundaries, but it's really important also to understand what internally is happening in terms of migration.
I'm sorry, teacher. Can you
our
continent. Inès, we can see your diaporama.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, Inès.
Again?
Yes.
Yeah, Charles. Mm-hmm.
Yes, can you repeat at the end of your slide because I have never seen at the end of your slide.
Oh, the end of the slide, okay. Where is it? Yeah. Okay, can you see?
Not yet. Yes, I can
Then?
see. So just slide. I need to see COMESA, Indian Ocean Association, first essay, assignment, seminar. So can you slide above?
Yes. Excuse me, do you want me to repeat what?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes. Just scroll up. I need to take a screenshot at the last point. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Let me take.
Yeah. Yes. But this, also, so Lawrence, you will provide this, you will distribute this among participants. It's okay. Yes, I was saying that the last topic is about the regionalization along Indian Ocean or Sub-Saharan Africa. So I choose those three regional organizations. The SADC one, which is about Southern Africa, and COMESA, which is Eastern Africa and parts of Southern Africa, and the third one, which is the Indian Ocean Association. Is it okay?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, there is a book here. That one was written by a Mozambican called Renat Matuse, which is really an interesting book because he was able to, it is published in both languages, in English and in Portuguese, which touches from the Bantu migrations to the launch of the free trade area. So the Bantu, we were the Southern African fact is settled, is formed by the Bantu people. So yes, centuries ago, there was this large movement of people from Central Africa that came down and settled the current Southern Africa. So that's why our languages, even though there are so many languages, but we can, there are some common language because we have the same root of people who formed this region. So we will discuss more about this. So this book, I don't know if, I didn't check, I'm not sure if it is available, is it sold on via internet, but you can Google. Nowadays, there is another a big problem. We have our father Google, you just download this and you will find if it's sold on sale or not. The other literature that I would like to recommend you can use, there's so many data, open data from the World Bank, open data from the UNFPA, from the UNDP, even, so there's so many data about that. I remember one open data of World Bank. In 2017, I also published an article that is part of a book that was published by Springer. Is about, I wrote about brain migration, that the people who are migrating from Africa, the skilled migrants. And of course, since it was not easy to get that data in my own country, I went to this World Bank open data. So there is a really wonderful data. And they're updating the data. So this is a powerful source of information, because unfortunately, we are still struggling on getting reliable data about statistics of anything that we want to study. Even what I'm going to show you here is most of this data is coming from internet source. Internet source is really powerful as long as we know how to select the important information for any purpose that we have. So I will shut up this and I'll go for the topic. Is that okay?
It's okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Okay, yes. Okay, let me drink some water. How is the weather in the Reunion? Yes, raining, eh? Okay, so let us, Lawrence say now, the geography of forced displacements in Africa, cyclone, floods, and drought. Why this topic? Okay. Can you see the maps?
We can see the first page, structure of presentation, but not the map. Yes.
Are you sure?
The map, yes. Very beautiful map on Indian Ocean.
Can you see the map?
Yes, we can see.
Yes, yes.
Ah, okay. The left side is the entire map of Africa, and the right side is the map of Indian Ocean. So, as you can see, for those who are geographers, I didn't ask geographers easily can read this map. We have these two colors, in fact, there are three colors. The yellow one, the brown one, and the green one. And of course, the water or the oceans is represented by blue color. The yellow and brown one represents the deserts of Africa. So you can see the Northern Africa, and down also we found until some countries, Northern Nigeria, Northern of South Sudan. And Eastern Africa, we found Somalia also, there is a desert. In Southern Africa, we have the Kalahari Desert in western part of the African continent. But also we can enjoy the green color, even my country, Mozambique. So if you look at the map, you can see that especially from central up to northern Mozambique is green. The Madagascar is green. Countries like Seychelles, like Comoros and Reunion, because of the scale of the map, we can't see much on that. So the right side, countries that are part of the Indian Ocean. So it includes Australia, Indonesia, India, Middle East, and all Oriental area or region of Africa, starting from the Horn of Africa until South Africa. So I also put the references where I took this map. Then I put a question, why I'm focusing on this. The objective is to understand the current situation of Africa. It's really important to know who we are in terms of resources, in terms of population. Wow, is it mine? Hello? Yeah. So we need to understand who we are in terms of production. What Africans do produce? Why, besides these resources that the Africa continent has, why I still see, if you read here, the green, can you see the graph? The red dots, the red means that we're under. Why is that situation? Why, beside all these things, all this wealth that Africa has created, we are continually living in, as beggars, we are continually living in below of poverty, how do you call, in terms of poverty rates, our situation is the worst in the world. Why? We have soils, we have forests, we have water, and of course, the size of continent. Our continent is bigger than Europe, but we are challenged by many issues, starting from the economy. We are not producing. What we are doing, especially if we are thinking of the formal economy, what we are doing is just, we are doing the commerce. We are not producing. Most of African countries, actually, they are not producing. Why? Either they're in the midst of war, I'm talking about my country, or we are affected by these natural events. So these factors, of course, hinders us moving in terms of production. We have our soils are still virgin. Our forests are still virgin. And we are here begging, waiting for someone to give us money. There is a joke about what happened recently in this summit of climate, the climate summit, that some African heads of states or prime ministers, instead of taking a plan, presenting or discussing a plan, how to cope with this climate change, they were begging about money that to help or to support how to rebuild the infrastructures that have been destroyed. 2 years ago, I was doing a research on environmental refugees in one of the provinces that has been affected by these three events: floods, drought, and cyclones. And people, common people, I'm not talking about literate people, common people who said, no, what we are witnessing actually is something new. For years, we haven't gone through floods like this. And I remember a lady saying that, you see, actually, we are paying a bill that is not meant for us. In a sense that people are recognizing that Africa is under fire, is under these climate issues, but is not responsible for that. Because climate change, and it is said in these meetings, that that what causes climate change has to do with the industrial activities, carbon emissions. That is the biggest problem. So I also bringing in fact the other presentation that on the 7th of November, I brought these maps that talks about poverty and hunger in Africa. So this is a new way of representing the problems of Africa. It is a geographer, a geographer from UK who has started to design the real maps. In fact, the real map is like this. When you look at poverty, the map of America almost doesn't exist. North America, even the entire America. But we look, you see India and the African continent. Yes, they are the face of poverty in the world. In terms of hunger, again, African continent, including these continents that these countries that the Indian Ocean lies on. You see Mozambique, Madagascar, Tanzania, where the percentage of hunger is quite high. That is really problematic considering that, yes, we have soils. Why people are living in cities without producing instead of living in rural areas where they could produce. To some extent, I say in a joke that COVID, yes, is a problem because it's killing people, but at the very first time now, Mozambicans can produce. You are no longer depending on food imported from South Africa. Even tomato, we used to import it from South Africa, but now the borders are closed, there are limitations of travels, and now we rely on our own. So now we're able to produce. Now we're able to produce tomato, we're able to produce onion, we're able to produce even potato. These products I'm talking about currently used to import from South Africa. And in fact, there are a lot of things to do about our continent in terms of our, how do we see our own continent. We have resources. So there is no reason for hunger. There is no reason for poverty. There is no reason for having these things that the world is talking about our continent. Okay. Another reason that causes the previous problems that I was talking about, political situation of Africa, terrorism, conflict resolution, border closures, and immigration. This is really reflects the situation between 2002 and 2012. It's a period where Mozambique was in peace, was enjoying peace, because the current map, the further one I'll show you, is showing new situation. You see how is the situation in the Africa continent. Number of deaths in 2011 in Libya, in Mali, in Ivory Coast, in Nigeria, and Congo and South Sudan. Unfortunately, this map is not showing about the Eastern African countries, but this is one of the problems that African continent is passing through. So displacements due to wars in Africa. This information I got from a PhD dissertation of a Mozambican. So he shows how the situation is. Displacements due to wars in African continent. So here it shows two situations about refugees and about IDPs. IDPs, which is about internally displaced persons. So we can see that the number of IDPs is larger than the number of the refugees, especially from since 2005 up to 2010. So the wars in Africa. And unfortunately, Africans, they've never enjoyed peace. If a country reaches peace, immediately another African country starts a peace. If you see the map of wars in sub-Saharan Africa or the maps of terrorism, you'll realize the entire sub-Saharan Africa is under fire, is under wars. Where we have examples of terrorism attacks like in Nigeria, like in Somalia, or in Ethiopia. Now Ethiopia is in another war. We go down the region of the central region of Africa, where we found the Great Lakes. This is the hottest region of Africa. DRC, I'm talking about DRC, I'm talking about Rwanda, Burundi. So we go further down, including Mozambique. Mozambique was free of war from 1992 up to 2013. Then now we are having these terrorist attacks where people are killed in the central region of the country. So yeah, this situation, the wars, they're provoking displacements in war Africa. I will not, as I said, I will not, for today, I will not talk about refugees. I'm focusing on displacement in the African continent. So the budget that the African states have, most of that budget is directed either to buy weapons or to support the people who are who have been displaced, which means that it's important. There is a need to build resettlement camps and a lot of things that the governments they have to do to support these people. So particularly, let me talk about Mozambique. Yes, in 2015, Mozambique started to be attacked by a group of people who said that these names that they're giving to them, and they are linked with the so-called terrorists like Al-Shabaab, this name, but we're still not clear who is killing people in Mozambique. There are so many, anyone can have a say on that, saying, no, they are Muslims, they are Christians, they are young people who are unsatisfied against the government and so on and so forth. But what is happening currently, what is for sure, is that people have been killed and the numbers are here. So you can see in 2015, we had in Cabo Delgado province, we had 6,000 IDPs. In 2018, the numbers grow to 15,000. And currently, I'm talking about 2020. I don't have data of, this is about a estimation for several sources. In 2020, you can see here, actually they counted about 600,000 of people who are living in a situation of IDPs. So this is what we see, that there are so many names that are called to that. So I have this, so before I move on, let us think of this. I got this from Ivan Easton Calabria. It's a paper on Horn of Africa about climate-induced displacement on the risk. He says that in the first half of 2020, approximately 9.88 million people were displaced due to hydrometeorological hazards and disasters, mostly in the Horn of Africa and South and Southeast Asia. There's a lot of people, a lot. And here, we're not talking about other natural disasters like volcanoes or like earthquake. No, I'm talking about issues related to climate conditions. So 9 million of people have been displaced with conditions Africa has to support these people. We have to think about families. We're talking about fathers, we're talking mothers, we're talking about parents, we're talking about the children, we're talking about the young people who live in settlement camps. Those young people and children, they're missing opportunities for studies. So there's another problem that Africa continent will face. So again, in this it says that global displacement is rising. We are in 2021. Global displacement is rising and the trend is projected to continue, which means that natural disasters, if the world doesn't take conscience or awareness how to deal with properly with this, our situation will worsen. So according to data from UNHCR, today, 1 out of every 95 people in the world is displaced. while many of the world's 8 million displaced have fled due to conflict over the past decade. The entire 23.1 million people have been displaced due to weather-related events. It's a lot of people. So what causes this problem? So we see climate events. Are we all familiar with this? Is anyone, I want a volunteer who can read me this graph here. Is there a volunteer? Hello? Wow, there are 12 people, no, plus myself. Is there a volunteer who can help me to interpret this graph? We see the year, it started 1880 up to 2020. Hello?
Okay, please come again with your question. My name is Vinyo, I'm from Nigeria. Can you please come again with your question, please?
Come again, please. Yes.
Yeah, I said my name is Vinyo, I'm from Nigeria. Can you please repeat your questions again, please?
Oh, no, it's just to interpret this graph here. Thank you. It's about this graph. What do you, because I'm this, are we all familiar with this?
Yeah, a climate zones in Africa, Mediterranean, tropical rainforest, desert, steppe, savanna. Yes, I'm familiar with this graph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does it mean?